Good morning, everybody. I am Dr. N. Sambat Lakshmi, HOD and Associate Professor of Commerce, ADM College for Women, Autonomous Nagapatnam. So today we are going to discuss about human resource management. So before proceeding to see about human resource management, we have to see the meaning as well as the definition of human resource management and objectives, characteristics and functions of human resource management. Actually, when you analyze the term human resource management, it is a combination of the two concepts, human resource as well as management. Management is actually getting things done by the manager. So the manager has to cooperate with the employees of the enterprise and he has to get the work done by the employees. So human resource is called the resources of the organization. So the managing the human resource is called human resource management. So in total it is a process of bringing people and organization together so that the goals are achieved. So it can be defined as the art of procurement, development and maintaining competent workforce. So workforce should be competent so that they can achieve the goals of the enterprise in an effective and efficient manner. So now let us see some of the definitions given by eminent personalities in the field of human resource management. See, according to Edwin Filippo, human resource management is planning, organizing, directing, controlling of procurement, development, compensation, integration and maintenance of human resources to the end that individual, organizational and social objectives are achieved. Let me explain the definition once again and you will be able to understand clearly about human resource management. So what Edwin Filippo says, it is a process of planning, it is a process of organizing, directing and controlling of procurement. Procurement means getting the employees for the organization. It involves selection and recruitment and developing the employees. It involves training as well as performance appraisal. And then compensation, compensating the workforce because we have to pay remuneration to the employees, then only they will achieve the motives of the enterprise. Then integrating the resources and so that we can achieve the individual as well as organizational and social goals. Individual goals means the employees will get their salary or wages and just like that, and the organization can also achieve the objectives. So another one which is given by NIPM, which is called National Institute of Personnel Management, defines is that part of management which is concerned with people at work and with the relationship within the enterprise. So it is concerned how the people are doing the work and what is the relationship between the management as well as the employees. So we can call the relationship between the employers and employees. So its aim is to bring together the employees in an effective organization of the men and women who make up the enterprise and having regard for the well-being of the individuals and of working groups to enable them to make their best contribution to its success. So that in total or in nutshell, what the definition says, so both we have to bring the men and materials and machines together and there should be some coordination in all the activities of the enterprise so that we can achieve the objectives of the organization. And according to Gluck, human resource management is concerned with most effective use of people to achieve the goals. Again, Gluck says it is we have to effectively use the human resources so that we can achieve the goals of the individuals as well as the organization. And let us now see about the objectives of human resource management. Some of the objectives are, I am going to tell you, human capital is one of the objectives of human resource management. That means human beings are the assets of the enterprise and we should have the right number and type of employees so that we can have the strategic as well as operational goals. And to develop organizational climate. So climate is very important in any business or in any management. Wherever you go, climate is very, very important. So we have to create a better climate so that we can achieve the objectives. Then next one, helping to maintain performance standards. So performance is very, very important, so that we are going for performance appraisal and all that. We should have effective job designs and adequate training and development and feedback, so that it will result in two-way communication. And we have to promote the harmony, and the organization has to provide well-trained and motivated employees. So only well-trained and motivated employees will work for the enterprise. And to develop and maintain quality of work life. That is, quality is very, very important. Without quality, we can't achieve anything. And what is the limit for quality? The limit for quality is only the sky. So we have to achieve the maximum. And to communicate the human resources policies to all the employees and maintain policies and behavior. The next one, the characteristics or features of human resource management. The following are some of the characteristics or features of human resource management. Comprehensive function, people oriented, action oriented, individual oriented, development oriented, pervasive function, continuous function, future oriented, challenging function. It's science as well as an art. It is also a staff function. It is one of the young disciplines. It is also interdisciplinary. And HRM is also the nervous system of any enterprise. Nervous system in this sense means it is the fulcrum, or it is the axis around which all the activities are revolving. So pervasive means it is applicable to all enterprises at all times. That we call it as pervasive. Action oriented means it is concerned only with action and not with record keeping. So we have to get the employees, that is, we have to recruit the employees, we have to train the employees, we have to motivate the employees, then they will achieve production. So it is action oriented. Then people oriented, we know well, human resource management is mainly concerned with the human or resources in the organization. So it is people oriented, and it is also development oriented. Integrated function in the sense, it is a link or relation between people working at various levels in the organization. And it is also a comprehensive function. That means it covers all type of personnel, and it is an auxiliary service. It is also a staff function. It is an interdisciplinary function because it utilizes the knowledge from all the fields, for example, from economics, from psychology, from history, and so on. And it involves teamwork as well as team spirit. And it also helps in achieving the individual goals as well as the organizational goals and social objectives. It also involves procurement, development, and maintenance of human resources. Procurement means we have to go for getting the employees, recruitment and selection of employees, and giving training to the employees, and maintaining the employees in an organizations. So these are the characteristics of human resource management. The next area I would like to explain is about the functions of human resource management. The functions may be broadly classified into two categories, namely managerial functions and operative functions. So the managerial functions are planning, organizing, directing, and controlling. So another set, operative functions, we have procurement, development, compensation, integration, and maintenance. Let us see the managerial as well as operative functions one by one. So when we see the managerial functions of HRM, it involves planning, it involves organizing, it involves directing and controlling. See, let me explain you the managerial functions one by one, because you should know, as a student of commerce or as a student of management, you should know the basic functions of management. You know well, the basic functions of management is planning, organizing, directing, coordinating, motivating, and controlling. And also these are the managerial functions of human resource management also. So here regarding planning, so it is a concept that we come across in our daily life. Planning is forecasting the future. That is, we have to decide well in advance. That is what is called the planning. So planning is needed at all levels, not only from the managerial point of view or from the business point of view or from the commercial point of view, but it is also needed at all levels. So we have to decide what should be done, when should be done, how should be done, by whom it should be done, and what are the rules, regulations, objectives, policies, procedures, strategies, programs and budgets to be followed, because these are the the methods of planning. So we should have our own objectives. That is the first basic foundation of planning. Then we should have the policies for implementing and also procedures and rules. Rules should be followed in all the enterprises, and strategy and program and budget. Budget is we should have the budget for each and every activity, and we have to adhere to the budget also. So we have to have fix and frame the objectives, policies, procedures, rules, strategies, programs and budget. So it is very important for every enterprise and also for human resource management to have planning. And the next function, managerial function, is called organizing. So organizing, we know we are bringing together all the men, materials, machines together for achieving our task. So division of work among the employees. So first of all, we will assign duties to all the employees. We divide the work to all the employees and we delegate the authority. Authority will be delegated to the subordinates so that they can carry out the work in a proper way. And creation of accountability. That is, the subordinate should know to whom the work has been assigned or authority has been delegated is made answerable for the progress of the work. It is very, very important. So when one is given authority, he is also accountable. So accountability is very, very important. Then we can move to the next angle. Then direction. So direction of human resources means we have to give orders and instructions to the subordinates, and it is a process of supervising, guiding and motivating the employees in order to get the best. So we have to supervise the employees, we have to guide the employees and we have to motivate the employees so that we can get the work done. So motivation is one of the main areas of human resource management, and number of theories are there, and we have to guide the employees and we have to lead the employees also. So this will help in attainment of the enterprise objectives. Next one is control. So actually in the case of managerial functions or human resource functions, control is actually the last step. That is, we have here we are going to fix the standards and we are going to measure the actual performance. Actually the control involves these stages, fixing the standards. So that is, for example, if an employee is has to produce 10 units per day, for example 10 units produced per day, we are fixing the standards as 10 units. So this is what is called establishing standards and measuring actual performance. So at the end of the day, we are measuring the performance of the employee. For example, he is producing only 8 units. That is what is called measuring the actual performance. Then comparing the actual performance with the standards laid down already. What is the standard laid down in this case? 10 units. Actually, how the employee has done only 8 units. So this is we are comparing 10 with 8. And measuring deviations. Okay, 10 minus 8 is equal to 2 units. This is what is called deviations. So we have to measure the deviations and finally taking corrective actions. Okay, now we are fixing the standards, we are measuring the actual performance and we are comparing the actual with the standards and we are measuring the deviations and taking corrective actions. So here 2 units, there is a deficit of 2 units. Actually the employee has to produce 10 units per day. But at the end of the day, when we measure the that is the actuals, we are able to know that 2 units shortage. So what we are doing, we are taking corrective actions. So we are calling the employees, the concerned employee, and we are asking him about the 2 units shortage. So he may come out with a number of reasons. Maybe he is not feeling well, or some transportation problem, so he is not able to come to the work spot, or some technical problems, or some problems he may come out. So we have to hear all the problems and we have to take necessary action. For example, the problem is in connection with conveyance, we may provide the conveyance and all that. Or else the person is not feeling well, we may grant leave and all that. So in that way we have to take the corrective actions. So this is these are the managerial functions of human resource management. Okay, now let us go to the next set of functions called operative functions. In the operative functions, we got the following: procurement, development, compensation, integration and maintenance. In procurement, we have job analysis, that is analyzing the job. So what about the job, how it can be done, details regarding the job, everything we have to analyze. Then recruitment. See, we have to go for recruiting the employees. Recruitment means search for the prospective employees, getting the right employees for the right job. It's very, very important. Right employees for the right job. If the right employees for the wrong job, if wrong employees for the right job, both are it won't serve the purpose. So we have to get the right employees for the right job. That is very, very important. So search for the prospective employees. And then selection. So selection involves, we got number of steps for getting the employees. So we have to get the applications and we have to screen the applications. Then we have to conduct the preliminary interview for the candidates. And we have to go for that is giving some test and all that. We may give a personality test or any test, and we have to go for final interview. Then we have to give them placement and all that. So these are the steps involved in selection of employees. Then the employees should be given placement. Then they should given orientation and onboarding, all these things. Then again, if there is any case, they can be transferred. Transfer means from one department to another department. That way it may happen horizontally or vertically, it may happen. Okay, then promotions and demotions. Promotion means moving to the hierarchy, which involves that is increase in pay and anomalies and all that, and sometimes it may also result in demotions. So these things will come under the category procurement. So once again I will tell you: job analysis, analyzing the job; recruitment, selection; placement and boarding; transfers and promotions. So these are all concerned with procurement of the employees. Next one, development. Here comes performance appraisal. That is appraisal or evaluating the performance of the employees. At any point of time, we have to evaluate the performance of the employees. It is done at all levels in almost all concerns. So that we can know whether the employees can be promoted or demoted. So that is very, very important, so that they can be given incentives or bonus and all those things, perks and all those things. So only depending upon the performance appraisal, we can give them promotions or demotions or salary hike and everything. So it is very, very important. Then training. So actually, when we get the employees, they are not trained. In some cases, they are not trained. So we have to give them training. So training increases the skill and knowledge of the employees. We can give them on-the-job training and off-the-job training also. Then career planning, that is moving to the next career, as well as development and transition planning. So these are coming under the category development function. The next one, compensation. Okay, we have procured the employees and we have also developed the employees. It is not enough. So procurement is over, development is also over, training is given, everything is given, but they are not given wages or salary or bonus or incentives, and there is no pay and all that. So they won't be motivated. They won't work for the organization. So we have to evaluate and we have to fix the wages and salary for the employees. So it involves compensation plan. We have to pay the compensation based upon the time rate system or piece rate system. That is depending upon the time worked or depending upon the products produced. So that is what is called wages and salary, and they may be given bonus as well as incentives. They may be given depending upon the work done, excess work done, and we have to maintain the payroll for the employees. Okay. The next one, integration. Integration, here it comes labor relations, how they are maintaining the relations in the organization, and motivation. It's very important a task of a human resource management. That is, we have to motivate the employees in a proper way. That should be positive. It should not be negative in the sense. So motivation will help the employees to achieve the objectives in a proper way. It will also increase the efficiency and productivity of the employees. So motivation is very, very important. It may be done by both ways. It may be done that is financially or non-financially. So financial motivators are there and non-financial motivators are there. Finance in the sense they may be given hike in salary, hike in wages or bonus and incentives, they may be given. Okay, or they may be given, for example, if the employees are working in a very good manner, they may be given leave salary, or they may be given holiday homes, they may be given some facilities like garden or gardener, chauffeur, etc. They may be given, all facilities may be given, and these things will come under the category non-financial motivation. Apart from this, the employees can also be, in the sense, they can be appreciated. So psychologically, when we are appreciating anybody, they will feel elevated and they will work for the betterment of the enterprise. So this is what is called motivation. So motivation is very, very important, and we got number of theories, motivation theories, and Maslow's hierarchical theory is very, very important in motivation, and we will see later on all those theories. And grievances, very, very important. So we procure the employees, we develop the employees, we compensate the employees, we motivate the employees. So the process is not stopped. We have to get the grievances of the employees, and we have to make redressal policies and so on. We have to ask the employees and we have a meeting with the employees, and we should listen to the grievances of the employees. If any grievances can be met by the employer, it can be met, so that it is very, very essential for the betterment of the enterprise. And discipline is very important, and coming to the enterprise, because it will affect the productivity and all that, and labor turnover is mainly the result of indiscipline. Labor turnover is the concept that the employee is coming and going from one concern to another concern frequently. That concept is called labor turnover. So the absenteeism, so these two concepts, labor turnover as well as absenteeism, is the result of indiscipline. So the people will not stick into the enterprise for a long time. They will be absent for the enterprise, and they will go away from the enterprise, run away from the enterprise. So we have to maintain strict discipline in the enterprise. So these are coming under the integrated functions. Next one, maintenance. Here we have to maintain the health and safety of the employees. Very, very important, because the employees are there and they are working for the concern more than 8 hours, or depending upon the enterprise code of conduct they are working. So they should, health is very important, safety is also very important. So they have to follow the rules and regulations relating to health and safety, as well as risk management. So regarding when they are with the machines or near the machines or working with the machines, we have to take care of health, social security, for example, the insurance and all that, and welfare, that is the environment, the facilities available in the institution. For example, they should be given a restroom, or the spittoons, toilets, latrines, urinals, and so everything should be provided to the employees. And record keeping is very, very important, because we can avoid lot of problems by keeping the record of the employees. So usually the numbers will be given to all the employees, and we have to maintain the numbers as well as the name, designation, and everything will be recorded in the record keeping. So this is which is called maintenance. So the maintenance, we will have the health and safety, risk management, social security, welfare, and record keeping. So procurement, I already told all the functions. Procurement involves job analysis, HR planning. Human resource planning is nothing but we have to plan for the human resources. How, that is, we have to estimate the demand of employees needed. That is what is called human resource planning. Human resource planning may be a short-term human resource planning or long-term human resource planning. So for example, during the, if there is any absent, or if the employee is going out of the concern, we have to decide and we have to estimate the demand for human resources. That is what is called human resource planning. And recruitment, I told you, that is choosing the right person for the right job, selection, placement, transfers, and promotions. And next one, development involves performance appraisal, training, executive development, career planning and development, and organizational development. And compensation involving job evaluation. Evaluation of the job is very important, and maintaining salary and wage structure, and incentives, bonus, and fringe benefits. And integration, it involves motivating the employees and boosting the morale of the employees. Effective communication is very, very important, because the communication should not always be one track or one way. It should be two way. It should reach the employees in a proper way. There should not be any disturbance. There should not be any distortion in the communication of the employees or employers. The communication may be oral or verbal or written, or it may be direct or indirect, or it may be grapevine and so on. And leadership qualities and collective bargaining and grievances and conflicts. It's very, very important. Conflict in the sense means when the conflict may arise between employees or between the employer and employees. See, actually, when the conflict arises between the employees, there is no problem. But when the conflict arises between the employers and employees, it is a lot of problem. Conflict in the sense it is the disagreement, the wavelength may not be coinciding with both the employers and employees, and we have to sit together, both the employees and employees, they have to sit together and they have to resolve the conflict. There are number of techniques for conflict resolution and all that, and handling disciplinary cases. And then maintenance. I told you already about maintenance. Labor turnover. So it is actually the problem of labor turnover is prevailing everywhere. This is because of discipline, I told you already. So labor turnover is a case, the employees will come to the concern and they will work in a concern for some time only. For example, let us take 2 months they will be in a concern, then they will go to another concern. Another employee is coming to the concern, he will be there for only a few months, 2 or 3 months, then he will run away from the concern. So this concept is called labor turnover. The employee is running from the concern, it is called labor turnover, and we have to analyze the reasons for labor turnover. What are the reasons why the employees are not there? So we have to go through we have to see the root of labor turnover. So we should not go at the outset, we have to go and analyze, we should have a research. So that is the next point. Human resource accounting, auditing and research. So auditing in the sense mean investments made for human resources, that we have to evaluate. Then auditing, that is regarding the process, procedure and everything, we should have an audit and how the employees are doing their work, that should be done. That what is called auditing. And research. Research, we have to go for data collection and we have to submit the report. It is very important for the development of the enterprise and also for taking the decisions. So if all these things are done and we have to carry out the research regarding the labor, from the labor point of view, we can avoid or we can prevent or we can control the labor turnover. Because if there is a labor turnover, it will actually, absenteeism is also a result of labor turnover. Absenteeism means the employee is not coming to the concern. That is another concept. So labor turnover we have to avoid, then only we can achieve the goals of the enterprise. So by doing research in the particular area, we can avoid the labor turnover and absenteeism, because these are the two major issues in human resource management, called labor turnover and absenteeism. So those both things should be avoided. And finally, the maintenance involves job satisfaction among the employees. It's very, very important. So it is not enough that we are procuring the employees or maintaining the employees or compensating the employees or motivating the employees and all these things, but we should provide job satisfaction for the employees. So job satisfaction is a very beautiful concept. So there is also a correlation between this labor turnover, absenteeism and job satisfaction. See, actually, when the employees are satisfied in their job, there won't be any absenteeism, there won't be any labor turnover. It will lead to productivity, it will lead to increased that is efficiency, effectiveness and everything it will lead to. So it will have only positive developments. Job satisfaction will have its own positive effect or positive developments. But if they are not satisfied, on the other hand, let us assume, so there will be absenteeism, there will be labor turnover, they will feel sick, they will get some stress, so all mental agony. So all these are the root causes of if they are not satisfied with the job. So in the maintenance it is one of the last functions of human resource management, but it is very, very important. We have to see whether the employees are satisfied with their job. So we have to see and we have to take necessary action for getting job satisfaction. So the maintenance involves labor turnover, human resource accounting, auditing, research and promoting job satisfaction among the employees. So actually in this class, let me tell you and give a brief review of what we have done today. We have today discussed about human resource management. The basic informations or basic foundations relating to human resource management. What's management? What is human resource management? And the definitions for human resource management given by eminent authors or personalities in human resource management area. Objectives of human resource management. Features or characteristics of human resource management. And finally, the functions of human resource management, namely the administrative as well as the operative functions, that is planning, organizing and procurement, development, compensation, integration and maintenance.